Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. My name is Earl Yates. I'm your host. And today my guest is Paul Wexler. Paul is one of the top guys for the Neighborhood Outreach Connection. His special part for the connection is actually in the healthcare division. Paul spent a great deal of his life dealing not only with this for his community, but also in his personal life, and of course, financial being also. We're very fortunate here on Hilton Head to have gentlemen such as Paul that live their life in the corporate world and financially take care of their family structure and their lives through these different outlets and different types of, or I should say genres of information exchange and public exchange. And they retire here with the expectations of relaxing, playing golf, playing tennis, not working too much anymore, but they find themselves caught in a situation where they see the same need here on Hilton Head as they've supplied, whether it be around the world or in the communities that they've lived in before, and feel that they still need to pick up the torch and continue in the same way. Hilton Head has its needs and its desires for gentlemen such as Paul, and sometimes we're lucky enough to have the fish net out and actually pull them in once they've decided to be on the golf course and pull them back into the office. And we're thankful for that, Paul, for sure. Paul, good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to get to the Neighborhood Outreach Connection, of course, but so our guests and our viewers can get a very good explanation of who you are, where you've come from, and how you've even gotten to the Neighborhood Outreach Connection. I think it's best that you say everything about yourself, that at least that you'd like us to know.
Thank you, Earl. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and I probably came to Hilton Head because every other car down here has an Ohio license plate, and I thought this must be the Southern Ohio that I was looking for. But we were born in Cleveland and left there. We were transferred out of there when I was 34 years old, so I've been out of there for quite some time. But born in Cleveland, and I attended Ohio State for business with a major area of restaurant management, because I was in the restaurant business for a long time and worked in restaurants around Cleveland and different aspects of the restaurant business. But after I married and had a family and got our first house for $28,000 in Cleveland, we moved into this house that was in Shaker Heights. In Shaker Heights, Ohio, at that time, was known throughout the country for, first of all, the quality of its schools. And second of all, it was known for being an integrated community that had been one of the most successful in the country. There's a Frank Lloyd Wright community in Chicago that came to Shaker Heights to see what we were doing so that they could do the same thing in their community in Chicago. And we did this because A, we had some very strong schools, and schools are what attract people to a community. So it was very important for us to keep those schools up. And I was kind of a community organizer. I was the president of a community association of 2,300 addresses in the neighborhood, in the city, and we had a lot to say politically about what happened in the schools, in the city, around the streets, about traffic, many issues that came up because the community was growing. And we successfully did this in an integrated setting. And that was something that was admired throughout the country. I was then transferred to Chicago, and because I joined Marriott Corporation back in 1977, when they were just starting to put together a hotel company, and they had several other divisions. that were all doing their own buying. And they decided if they put it all together, they could probably find some efficiencies. They hired me and taught me, literally taught me, corporate purchasing. And as I grew in the organization, they moved me to Chicago to take over more of the Midwest, and then they ultimately, 3 years later, moved me to their headquarters in Bethesda to head up the whole country. And as we expanded, we headed up the country, and then we went worldwide with the purchasing. So at one point, we had about 70 people working for me, and about $2 billion in purchasing going on for Marriott. So at that time, I was involved in organizations in the hotel industry and in the restaurant industry that were related to purchasing. And we did purchasing seminars for other restaurant groups to show them how we had put this thing together and made it successful. At that time, I was with Marriott for 18 years, and then I decided to take an opportunity down in South Carolina. First I had to look at the map and see where it was, and then after that, I decided to take this opportunity down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, for the company that owned, best known brand was Denny's, but owned 5 other restaurant brands and was in deep financial difficulty. They put together a team of managers to literally save this company. And we did. We sold off a lot of assets, and we built the company around Denny's. And I'm pleased to say that that was a dozen years ago, and Denny's is still a very viable operating business today. After about 6 years, I had done about all I could do for that company, and decided that Hilton Head was where we wanted to retire. We had come down here once to listen to a timeshare sales pitch, and didn't want a timeshare, but really wanted to live here. So we found our home and moved down here in 2001. So we've been here just about 10 years. And as you say, you know, everybody wants to move down here and do nothing but play golf and go fishing and relax, and that's fine. But when you've been in the mainstream, as I was for so many years, that gets old awfully quickly. In addition to that, I had some physical problems occur where I was diagnosed with kidney cancer about 7 years ago. And shortly thereafter, they removed the kidney, and I was fine. And 2 years later, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So we dealt with the prostate cancer, and I thought to myself, I really need to give something back to this community as far as all they had done for me and my health problems. And so I started to look around for organizations that would focus on health support for people. NOC was that organization. They were at the time a fairly new organization, but they were looking to help people that could not afford health care for themselves. And so we set up this organization that you are very well aware of that has 2 sides to it. One is the medical side, where I'm responsible for all the healthcare testing, whether it's by bringing buses into the community or by doing it in individual spaces that we rent in each community. The other is education, and we are very, we put a high priority on education and healthcare. Those are the 2 sides to our organization.
Well, what we'll do is, wow, it's great to hear a story so good that I can just like not really be a host, just be a listener. I mean, it's wonderful. And I'm sure as viewers and guests to the show, you now understand what's going on not only in the life of Paul Wexler, but also see what's going on in our community as far as having the right people that will relocate to Hilton Head, and in exchange for hospitality and beaches and marsh and beautiful views, we also get very productive people in our community. What we'll do is we'll take a short break, and because Paul is specialized on the health side of the NOC, we'll introduce to you a little bit of the NOC as far as the educational side, and let you know what we're doing for what's going on for the kids and everything like that. But for the most part, focus on what enormous change that he's making in neighborhoods here as far as health-wise goes. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. My name is Earl Yates. I'm your host, and still wonderfully and blessed to have Paul Wexler, still my guest. Paul, where we'll start, of course, we've already gone into the neighborhood outreach connection a little bit, but explain, because I'm sure, because Hilton Head is an affluent area, and of course there's a lot of people who relocated from, even if not from your very community, Shaker Heights, people that know a lot about it. And the first perception would be, okay, now you're talking about a completely affluent area, but you did say that you purchased your house for $28,000, which of course, you know, times of race and everything like that. But the most important thing for that issue is you were the leader of that community that had seen it before it was what it is now and what people see. And now you're dedicating yourself to Hilton Head in that same manner. Give us a brief explanation for Shaker Heights' turn in that period of time that you took over that leadership position to where now what it's led you into for the neighborhood outreach connection.
Well, what Shaker Heights, Earl, what Shaker Heights really proved to me is that people of all types, races, religions can live together in harmony. They can help each other out, okay? And that the important thing to do is start with the children. The children are, you know, that song, the children are our future. The children are our future, and the children need to come up through a system that gives them full opportunity for education. One of the things, and I'll get into a little bit what we've done as far as prostate cancer goes, but one of the reasons that I feel so strongly about the medical side is because if the people are well, they have the opportunity to take care of themselves. And as you know from talking about NOC before, it's the old adage about teaching the people how to fish, not giving them the fish. In order for people to be able to work, they have to be healthy. And if they're not healthy, they're not going to be in the workforce. They're not going to be able to take care of themselves. So the basis for my interest is, number one, South Carolina is number 3 in prostate cancer deaths in the United States. In prostate cancer diagnosis in the United States, they're number 3. And that we have an opportunity here to help the people and give them the opportunity to help themselves.
Now, what results have you seen since you've started your position with the Neighborhood Outreach Connection? Have you seen in the neighborhoods that you've been dealing with?
Are you talking about medical results?
Yes, as far as once you came in, because there are places on Hilton Head like, say, Volunteers in Medicine, that, you know, they don't go into depth like you do for the community that you're working in. But you've come in and transformed it, attacked it in a different way, to where, you know, I've seen when you walk into a classroom setting, the kids don't blink an eye, they don't really turn, because it's a familiar face. There's not someone new in the room. So of course, when people are comfortable with you and they trust you, then they're more apt to follow direction or to give away personal space and attention, which requires for health?
The first thing we do in our organization is get to be known by the people and build a trust between us so that they understand that we don't want anything back in return other than their participation. So someone once said to me when we had a bus in the community here at the Oaks, and they said to me, and I said, I wish more people would come out and use us. And they said, well, you have to understand, where we come from, nobody gives us anything without expecting something in return. And I said, well, I expect something in return. And they said, well, what do you expect? I said, I expect you to go to GED classes. I expect you to go to computer classes. I expect you to go to English classes. So I expect that you will do things that will further help you, in thanks for me doing this free medical screening for you. And so I kind of turned it into an opportunity to say to them, yeah, we do expect it, but we don't expect money. We don't expect services back from them. We expect them to better help themselves. And that's what we're really looking for. The tests that we do, and I've expanded the tests as we've gone. We started out with just prostate. I had a bus down here from the Prostate Cancer Coalition for a week that went between neighborhoods and Walmart parking lots, and we tested 750 people for their PSAs. We had, I was given the responsibility to test every neighborhood on Hilton Head. I not only did the neighborhoods, but I did the town fire department. And so we did an extra 250 people with that round of testing. We do screening in our communities directly in apartments that we have rented. So we do screening for blood pressure and blood glucose all the time, every month. People can come and get their blood glucose. That's where volunteers in medicine come in, because if we find someone that is not doing well medically, we then send them immediately to volunteers in medicine. We're not there to care for them. We're there as diagnosticians. We're there to just make sure that they're healthy. And I'm sorry.
No, but you also, along with that, which obviously you're being a pioneer for that situation, not only here in the Lowcountry, because we're three in both negative situations in the nation as far as South Carolina. Here, you're starting something that's very important that could springboard throughout the state. That is very important, but you're also doing HIV testing also, which is a very huge thing, because it tends to be larger in a minority setting than it is in others. And to come in there, and you told me that you have 15-minute results, and along with the results, you have certified counseling set up immediately. That's not just a great thing for the Neighborhood Outreach Connection. That's phenomenal, period.
Well, we work in conjunction with the Ryan White organization, and we take the HIV testing off our buses or out of our rented areas, and we give privacy for all HIV testing. We do the blood test in 15 minutes. Our technician has the results. Our technician is from Ryan White. They're also trained to counsel the people immediately if there's a positive test. And then that person is sent on to other organizations for future counseling and for treatment. So we're dealing with HIV, we're dealing with hypertension, we're dealing with blood glucose for diabetes. We also do nutrition classes so that we can avoid high blood sugar. We have done dental clinics that involve the kids, that they learn how to care for their teeth at the beginning stages of their lives. We're doing other individual classes. We do eye tests. We do hearing tests once a year in each community. So we're trying, again, to keep these folks healthy, to give them the opportunity to go out and get jobs and take care of themselves.
Well, I tell you, the most amazing thing for you viewers that you haven't seen the interview with Mr. Naren Sharma, who also, he's the chairman of the Neighborhood Outreach Connection, and these gentlemen work hand in hand to better our community. What they both will let you know is the impact is a great one. And it's special not only for the community that they're dealing with, but also for Hilton Head in general. Because remember, as Mr. Sharma has said, and also Mr. Wexler will tell you, Latinos and blacks are no longer minority. It's not that way anymore. So the people that you're dealing with and they're directly impacting are those who hold a very strong part of our community. Whether their jobs are laborers in restaurants or gardening, these are people that are just as important in our neighborhood as those who come in and bring us funds through tourism. So it's an amazing thing to see that these gentlemen are actually doing something that's it's on the forefront of an amazing change in America, not just Hilton Head. You just have the opportunity to know them personally and see them on TV and come in contact with them on something that's about to take hold nationwide, I feel. So what I need from you viewers to understand is not only are you dealing with these gentlemen, but you also have a right to help your community along with them. They're carrying the heavy load. All you have to do is lend a helping hand, whether it be with finance or a laptop for the young kids or even participation yourself for volunteering. Make sure you get in. You have the website there that I'm sure you've seen. Paul is very, very special. Thank you, sir. And it's a pleasure to have you in the same neighborhood than I am, and I look forward to the growth.
Thank you.
And this has been Lowcountry View with Hilton Head. Of course, my guest with Earl Yates. I'm sorry, we're in Hilton Head. My guest is Paul Wexler. You have a wonderful evening, and take care.